What is going on, y'all? I'm here to talk about the Magearna changes I've made before all of you competitively minded players absolutely lose your shit because holy shit, he done min-maxed Magearna. What's this guy doing? I get that if you're new here and you're just clicking on this video, you might be thinking that in your head. You know, stick around, listen to me talk for a bit. You can check out my other videos. It'll all start to make sense. Also, if you read the description, the power levels in this game are a lot higher. Making Magearna a bit bulkier isn't really gonna like it's a given if anything. And also, I try to make the stats make sense, and I think these stats make a lot more sense than Magearna's original stats. So yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense for them to be bulky and really strong. Obviously, yes, Steel Fairies are great typing. We all know this, but before I get into explaining the ability choices I've made and the reason that, well, you can already read here why Soul Heart is gone. But before I get into explaining the nitty-gritty of all these mechanic changes and abilities and all that stuff, and the moves, most importantly, I want to have a quick disclaimer for new viewers to pause the video, read the description. I've got a bullet point list explaining the basics of the ROM hack, my basic thought process, like the simple, important things you need to know just before going into this. When you're done reading that, you can also, when we're done with the video, you can check out my other videos, and you can check out the Google Sheet, specifically the move sheet. I have everything organized into categories, super easy to understand and navigate, so definitely make sure you do that because the moves are the entire backbone of how this game is balanced. With all that being said, the Magearna. So I gave it 2 electric-themed abilities and then Fairy Aura, because as you can read, Soul Heart is no longer called Soul Heart; it's called Hubris, which is like doesn't make any sense for Magearna to learn it. It has no business not learn, excuse me. It has no business having hubris. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for its design at all or what it is. It's a robot, It's not like it's got an ego or it's like kind of, hubris has like that type of moxie vibe, a special moxie, basically. Because there's very few double battles in the game, so it's basically special moxie. So in exchange, Magearna now has 2 really cool electric-themed abilities and Fairy Aura for that raw damage boosting, and it also has better bulk, Wish, Fortify, Recharge for healing. So it's definitely not nerfed or anything, although competitively minded players might be thinking, oh my god, he got rid of Hubris shift gear, or Soul Heart shift gear, that's his whole thing. But that's not its whole thing anymore. Every Pokemon in this game has many options that they can pick between, depending on the boss fight, depending on the situation, depending on what you need them to do, depending on your team members. So that's all really fun, and Magearna is no exception. So I gave them immunity to Electric and Motor Drive, which makes sense, they're a robot. And then Electric Surge, so I was debating between Electric Surge or Volt Rush for that final ability slot, but I think Electric Surge is a bit cooler. I think it's cool to have like Pokemon with terrain abilities that aren't that type, like Oranguru, Grassy Surge. There's a bunch of other examples, but I just don't want to bother listing them all right now. There's a couple other examples like that. I think it's cool because you can like support your own Pokemon with Volt Rush, or just even like it's just good to have terrain. It's just always nice. Not only is it giving you a damage boost to Zap Cannon and Rising Voltage and other stuff like Shockwave, Priority Shockwave, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, cool stuff like that. It's also giving you defensive utility. You're immune to sleep, which is pretty nice because they will have like sleep relatively commonly because it's really good versus the player to abuse sleep. So AI will have sleep and stuff like that, but so that's one cool use, but also like Terrain Pulse. Every special attacker in the game gets Terrain Pulse, so being able to get electric moves on any Pokemon on your team, basically, or at least any special attacker is good. And then just overriding other terrain, right? If the AI has a Psychic Surge team or a Grassy Surge team once in a while, you can swap to Electric Surge and override that. So that's all really good. And then of course just getting that damage boost, it's almost giving you like a secondary, a triple stab on Electric. Fairy Aura is great for just blowing shit up. You get Eternal Beam, but so by the time you catch this, it'll be hatched an egg, right? Like if you don't know what the egg stuff is, read the description. I've got a list explaining the egg thing. But you'll hatch it from the egg, and you'll be like probably, I'd say level 50 at the earliest is when you would get this thing. Excuse me. So you rock Eternal Beam until Radiant Outburst at 60, and then if you're just trying to blow one thing up, Radiant Outburst is better at that. But if you're trying to like do long-term stuff, then Eternal Beam is better, and both of them are incredibly strong. And as you could read, Fleur Cannon was now repurposed into Eternal Beam, which is a TM, which tons of Pokemon get now. While Radiant Outburst comes from, I believe it's Prismatic Lasers animation, but it's like rainbow light, or like a fucking storm of rainbow light, whatever. So that's the new Fairy type Draco Meteor. So Magearna still has a Fleur Cannon equivalent, don't worry. So both of those are great with Quick Claw. Also, 65 speed is usable with Choice Scarf. Scarf Magearna with a neutral speed nature outspeeds the AI's base 99 speed and below. So anything with below 100 base speed is you can outspeed with Choice Scarf, which is pretty good. Fairy Aura, very fun. I mean, Pixie Dust, Choice Specs, Fairy Aura is really good too. Or just like Draining Kiss, like Assault Vest, Fairy Aura, all types of fun ways you can like stall things or kill things or 2 KO with Pixie Dust with Fairy Aura because you're just so strong. with that fairy aura. And then Mono Drivers is good for immunity, right? So not only are you getting a speed boost, so I already covered the Choice Scarf stuff, right? So a speed boost is good in that regard. It's also nice just to be immune to something. It's good. I mean, Steel Fairy with electric immunity, that's what, 4? Dragon, Poison, Electric, no, 3 immunities. That's great. 3 immunities, Dragon, Poison, Electric, super dope. So yeah, very nice and fun, and has tons of resistances, of course, as we all know. Steel Fairy is a great defensive typing, so that's why you have stuff like Wish and Fortify and Recharge to take advantage of that as well. Parabolic Charge and Draining Kiss are great for healing. Electro Shot could be cool with Shift Gear specifically, or Meteor Beam. Shift Gear now gives you a +1 special attack boost, which is why it's so late into the game, because it's so strong now. So at the very end of the game, you can do some Shift Gear shenanigans with Meteor Beam or Electro Shot to further sweep, or you could just go for raw, you know, Eternal Beam, Moonblast, Flash Cannon, all that good stuff. Steel Beam is also great on this thing with Shift Gear, kind of, because Steel Beam is giving you +1 special attack in exchange for half of your health, and it's also just a very strong move. You can also just abuse like Quick Claw, Steel Beam, switch in, blow something up. Same with like the Fairy Aura, Radiant Outburst, or Electric Surge, Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon is the same thing as Radiant Outburst and Hyper Beam, where it's special Draco Meteor, electric Draco Meteor, so that's good. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I don't know, Electro Ball can be good to like snowball and get some speed boosts going. Calm Mind's obviously solid, Iron Defense is solid, Body Press is solid. It's got the same coverage it's always had. I also threw on Power Gem, and of course it's got like stronger electric moves now because of that electric surge. So yeah, super fun overall, very straightforward changes. So I think I'm just gonna leave the video off here, man. I don't think there's too much else to really discuss. It's an in-game Pokemon. Yes, it's very strong. So is every other Pokemon. Is it great? Sure. I mean, I don't know. I like to make these changes make sense. I think Magearna makes sense to be super tanky. You know, 130 defenses. It's a big metal robot. It's like this mythic Pokemon. So yeah. And also I think it makes up for some people want to do that sweeping shit, right? So you can still do that. That's why I was trying to cover the whole Meteor Beam, Electro Shot stuff, is because you can still do that with Shift Gear, especially because Shift Gear gives you special attack already. And you're never gonna need more than +1 special attack anyways, if I'm being real. It's mostly speed boosting or defense boosting that matters. Mostly speed. That's like the best boosting in the game, which is why it's so heavily, like, I try at least to limit it more or balance it a bit because it's just so strong. Yeah, thanks for listening. Leave a comment down below if you made it to the end, y'all. I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.